doing in flight school practice.
Alright. So, I'm spawning right now. I'm coming from the British spawn point. See if everyone's on Discord. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so a common thing that most pilots do when someone's on their ass, like for instance, let me see, who's this? Let me know if you're getting shot. If I'm on your ass like that, your first instinct is to keep turning, right? Like what you're doing right now is you're hitting your brakes. You don't want to hit your brakes, right? So, yeah. I want you to try to get away from me. So so everybody observed me shooting Zeno here.
Well, that's
so
shaky.
One thing he did, he's in that attack plane?
Yeah, I see you. I'm spectating. That's shaky. That red plane?
Okay. No, I'm in the red plane, man.
Yeah. We're
okay.
shaky.
So if I'm shooting you and you're gonna pump your brakes to do an overshoot, that's a good tactic if you're in an attack plane. But what sucks about that tactic though is that you quickly lose speed and air control. Because when you brake, like the turn for instance, that gives your opponent the maneuver as far as like a seasoned pilot to not overshoot you and just get back on your six. So what you want to do is throttle. Brakes are your fucking enemy. They're practical for certain occasions and reasons, like if you're in a bomber or if you're like, definitely an attack plane. But if you're running a fighter plane, you definitely do not want to use the brakes. Using the brakes will kill you. So right now I have someone on my ass. So my first thing is to do this, is to keep turning, right? Hope. Exactly. You crash. Exactly. And if you're trying to maintain a neutral, like this is a negative dogfight right now. Negative meaning that if you are in the negative situation where someone's behind you, in order to take control of that and really help you, if, of course, the person is seasonal, like a seasoned pilot, he knows exactly that if you're going to keep doing that, he's going to go straight up in the air, like he's doing, and just watch you fucking do your turns, and then just get back on your six. Alright? So everybody, well, let's see, I'll probably give a plane so everybody can try to practice how to get rid of someone on your six. Everybody in?
I believe so.
Don't want to keep doing that. Definitely is disadvantageous to you. Now, when you're turning like that, what you want to do is you want to constantly gain airspeed and recycle it into dive. Don't use your brakes to try to get behind someone. If you see someone like turning like a lot, like that's constantly turning, instead of doing a turn to get someone off your ass, do barrel rolls. Barrel rolls are your friend. Barrel rolls help you maintain your airspeed. Altitude is also your friend. You need altitude to recycle your dives, so you can use that potential energy to get behind on someone's six and interrupt their fucking attack. So if they're behind you, you want to turn into them. And to do that, you can do a barrel roll, like I'm doing, and you can recycle it back into a dive, just like that. And about like 90% of the time, they're gonna cross you. They're gonna fucking see you do that, or not see you do that. You're gonna get out of sight, and they're gonna keep doing the turning, or they're gonna keep turning right so they can find you, or they might go straight up. And this is what's called a Dylan, where they pump on their brakes and they kind of just let themselves fall. Do not get yourself caught in a Dylan. Dylan will fucking kill you.
Especially if they're in a fucking attack plane.
Especially in a attack plane.
They'll jump in the back of that bitch and they'll light you up.
Exactly. So you don't want to be in a Dylan. A Dylan will fucking kill you. It's if you're gonna do a Dylan, pull a Dylan off in higher altitudes. Never do it low to the ground, because then you just destroy your energy and you can't make any more dives. And basically, when you're fighting, like, I know it's practical in the game to brake, to turn, to do a tighter turn, but it's not practical in a dogfight. Because if someone's on your six and you're braking a turn, all they have to do is just get a little bit higher above you, and then use their stored energy to turn back into you, just like I'm doing right here, to just fucking shoot you and get you down. And that's how you do your fucking dog. That's how dogfighting works. Good dogfighters or good pilots know that rule. Don't brake. Braking will fucking destroy you. Try to avoid it as much as possible. Practice barrel rolls as much as you can. Now, one thing you should know, one thing that has helped me is the 3/4 turn, which is basically a rule. If you're going to turn like a vertical turn, do 3/4 of the turn, and then you want to roll out into it. You know what I mean? Or if you're going to do like a 3/4 turn, roll out, and then use that potential energy to climb back into the atmosphere, and then use that to dive again. Speed is your friend, and you want to keep doing that, doing the 3/4 turns in order to get people off your ass or to get behind someone. And altitude, of course, is what you need. So I want you guys to practice some one-on-one dogfights. I'm gonna get on the ground right now. I'm gonna redeploy. Okay. So let's see who's on my side here. So Shaky, I want you to what are you running right now? Attack plane? Okay.
I wasn't gonna shoot you down, Shaky. I was just waiting till you were smoking and I got off of you. I wasn't gonna actually shoot you down.
I want you guys to practice in fighter planes because it's practical to learn how to turn, to use like potential energy to get behind your opponent, to gain altitude. So well, let's do one-on-one. So Shaky, grab fighter, and I want you to go up against. Let's put you up against a veteran. Let's go with Seedless. Seedless, you can take on Seedless. Let me just get in position. I'm gonna try to fight or maintain your dogfight like over the middle of the desert.
Yeah. What I want to do is you want to let Shaky get behind me, and we'll start out that way.
No. I don't want you guys to allow yourself to do anything. I want you guys to legitimately dogfight, try to shoot each other down. And I want to point out a couple things that you guys do that is good, a couple things that you could have done a little better. So I want you to guys try to fin out. That's the point of dogfighting. You got to find each other. So right off the bat, what Seedless does is he does a dive like that. He dives straight to the ground, uses his potential energy to dive back and gain altitude. If you guys are watching, I don't know, you can't really tell which is who. I can tell. I mean, obviously you can tell the guy who's blue is Shaky, and I mean, well, for me, Shaky is blue. But so what Shaky's doing is he's using his potential energy to gain altitude. And he's looking around, hopefully in first person. You always want to use first person to try to at least look around, see where your opponent is. And right off the bat, I can see Seedless doing some vertical loops. Now, a loop and a turn are two different things. I don't want you guys to get confused. A vertical loop is very helpful, but also your worst enemy. If you know how to pull off a vertical loop, like for instance, Shaky's trying to do a vertical loop. If he's going to do a vertical loop like that, what you want to do is turn into him. So you're going to dive, you can do some fancy footwork like that, but Seedless is still on your ass, man. He's potentially lost you. Who else is, wait, that's someone else's plane. Who's in the air? Still in the air. Okay.
I was wondering, I seen another shadow on the ground and that was the one I went after. Yeah, watch those shadows too, guys. Watch those shadows.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good
a lot in first person.
Definitely. Good point too. Always want to try to look at the shadows. So right now I can see Shaky's on Seed's ass, and what Seed just did right now is he's using his recycled energy to dump into dives. Of course, that was Severed. Sorry, Severed. You're gonna have to watch for now. I want you to watch this dogfight. So I think Seedless broke off to go and repair somewhere. Oh, okay, there he is. So immediately when this is what's called the negative, or this is a neutral dogfight, when they're both spinning kind of in, you know, usually kind of like left and right, everyone's going right or everyone's going left, but try to get behind each other. It's a turning war. In order to neutralize this, you're going to want to do some loops. You're going to want to do some energy with, like, you know, recycle your energy back into a dive, and then use that dive to gain altitude. And most of the time, you're going to get things where he's gonna cross back into your path. So, like for instance, right there, that loop that Shaky did. Although yes, he did lose Seedless. Now he doesn't. Seedless has the fucking height advantage though, and if he looks around just right, they're gonna meet again. And there's Shaky, and Shaky's able to stay on his ass. But if he see what the trick about dogfighting is, and I've seen a lot of people do it, especially if they're doing casual. In casual mode allows you to look in third person, and third person is like super advantageous. When you're in first person and you're dogfighting, it's like being blind. It's fighting while you're blind, and it's fucking scary sometimes because you have no idea where they are. But what's good about the first person at least in my perspective, is use the advantage for height and use the sun to cover your attack. So if you have the sun behind you, and you see somebody like, for instance, like, you know, over at G or over at fucking Bravo towards the mountain, they're not going to be able to see you. And you can use that advantage to gain elevation, gain speed, and then dump that energy into your dive in order to try to kill quickly. And that's going to, I mean, obviously when you first dogfight, it's a trial and error. Like, you're going to get good dogfighters that are going to know how to dump their energy back into, like, for instance, like a loop.
Too low.
Or, oh shit, too low. So, see, right there, I think you try to pump your brakes and try to fucking get a little low.
I tapped the brakes
So
and flipped upside down and tried to do a loop, and it was just too low, yeah.
Yeah, only, yeah. Yeah. So, right now, if you see what Shaky's doing, well, a loop is something you can do either vertically or you can do horizontally. And horizontally, when I mean like horizontally, I'm talking about, it's basically called a high yo-yo. Yeah, it's called a yo-yo, or, and there's another term for it, but you can either do like a low yo-yo or a high yo-yo. Yo-yos are good for, for instance, if you wanted, if someone's like, if the plane is in front of you and it passes you, if you go up and, like, you know, if you actually throttle up, and then as you, instead of doing like a, like, I guess a loop and shit, you churn out from the loop on the very top of the turn. So basically what that lets you, that's called a yo-yo, and that lets you get right back on their 6, or at least be able to get back into your view.
Field of view,
so,
yeah.
So high, yeah, keep going. Let's get someone else. Let me see here. Who else is up? Let's go. Severed, why don't you grab a plane this time? So I want you to go ahead and take on Shaky. He's still in the air. Now, see what Shaky's doing is he's getting height, he's getting elevation, and that's advantageous if you want to see kind of where everybody is, or obviously you kind of know where the planes are coming from. Like, enemy planes obviously spawn and usually in one direction. If they're at their spawn from G, like on a second like plane cap point, there's 2 different directions that they come from. Usually it's, I don't know, it's usually one. I've seen them come from 2 different directions sometimes. So let's work on, I just wanted to see exactly how you guys fight and see exactly how what you're maneuvering. So, like, for instance, Shaky, what he's doing is he sees that Severed is doing that right turn. So what he's doing is that he's turning and turning and turning. Oh, it's shit. And what that's gonna, the disadvantage of that is that Shaky's anticipating those turns. So even if you do go left or right, there's only 2 choices that you can make. And if you get low to the ground, and if you're constantly losing airspeed like that. So, like, as you can see, Severed, what he's trying to do is get back elevation and then try to dump it into a dive. And that right there is what would be considered a high yo-yo, what Severed pulls. Now, it's good because the high yo-yo can help you lose the guy behind you, but the thing is, if you do it too low to the ground, you lose the height advantage. Shaky, what he did is turn around, and then he got the height advantage and went right back on his ass. So that was a bad move on there, because you go into a Dylan like that, Sev, when you do it,
yeah.
See how he did it at a high altitude? That's a lot better than when you do it at a low altitude, because then Shaky's going to get right back on his 6, but you lost him. And it's a great move to remember, guys, if you ever need to get out of a tricky situation like that. When you're high altitude, you pull a Dylan very high altitude and immediately use a high yo-yo to the advantage. You can definitely almost always lose a tail. Of course, if they're really good pilots, they're going to know this move. So I just want everybody to point out what Sever did was perfect in that situation, and you pulled the Dylan really high in the air. But now it's like it goes back into a neutral dogfight where they're both looking for each other. And that's how you go from a negative dogfight, and Sever demonstrated that perfectly, into a neutral dogfight. Now what Shaky's doing, not to point out to Severed, but what Shaky's doing is gaining height elevation again, so he can find Severed and see where he's at. Because at this point, you can either have the inclination that your opponent's going to try to fly low to the ground to shake you off, or he's going to be really high up in the air. So your two instincts is to keep churning and churning and churning. This isn't always the case. The best thing to do sometimes is to go fly straight up into a high yo-yo and do a little bit of recycling some of the energy that you're using. Don't use the brakes to try to turn tighter. That's going to fuck your flight up. Use, when you turn, like on the controllers themselves, your left stick is like your yaw most of the time. And I'm sorry, no, the left stick is your throttle. The right stick is your yaw, and that controls how tight you turn or where you turn. You want to use that in synchronization with I forgot what they're called. The very tips of your plane, you have little rudders too, or little fins that help you make your turns tighter. You can use that barrel roll.
Those control your pitch and roll.
Right, yeah, your pitch and roll. So you can use those in concert with your fucking throttle to make tighter or looser barrel rolls. Barrel rolls are your friends. Definitely barrel roll is your friend. So right now I can see that Severed, Severed is getting on Shaky's ass. Another good tactic is always to fly into the sun. That helps you out in first person a lot too. Makes you basically disappear. But if you're gonna fly into the sun, avoid the Dylan. Because most people are gonna anticipate, like me, if people fly into the sun, I'm gonna anticipate that you're gonna try to hit your brakes and go into a Dylan, and I'm just gonna sit right on your ass and just fucking destroy you. So if you are gonna fly into the sun, you wanna do a flight into the sun, do a loop, into a high yo-yo, come out of it, then quickly try to regain your 6 on your opponent, like how Shaky's doing now. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, Shaky. So dogfighting's a different fucking beast in a fighter plane than first person. It's so completely different. And the advantages, of course, for me is that you need to at least know exactly where you are relative to the ground, because obviously you can't rely on your little like fucking dashboard to see how high you are, because it doesn't display shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to at least like always remember where you are in position. This is why I chose Sinai, because it's perfect for elevation. You can see where the mountains are, you see how high you are, and it's good to help you, you know, learn how to fucking to at least to know where exactly you are in position to the ground. So right now, what Shaky's doing, what I've seen, he's recycling those dives back into elevation climbs. And there were several times where he almost had a 6, and it looks like Severed caught him, so it looks like he knows where he's at now. Shaky's using the yo-yo. And that's another good way to recycle your energy. And another thing that comes up too is plane lag. I don't know if you guys ever, whenever you guys try to turn, and there's like, for instance, like if you're right behind someone and they start turning and there's a little bit of lag when you turn. A good thing to do instead of trying to pump your brakes is to go full throttle.
Oh yeah, elevation is definitely your friend there.
Yes, exactly. So now what they're doing is they neutralize the dogfight, and that's exactly what you want to do every time. If someone's behind you, you want to neutralize it by either gaining elevation or getting into a dive using a high yo-yo or a barrel roll. Don't just sit there and keep churning. That's a good way to just die. Don't, you know, if someone's on your ass and they're shooting you and they're shooting you and they're shooting you, use a combination of a high yo-yo or a barrel roll to get them off your ass.
What was the yo-yo? I don't think that was
here. Let me get a plane so I can show you.
Oh, you guys.
You guys crash into each other?
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you're basically in that neutral zone of dogfighting, when you're both turning and trying to find each other. You might accidentally cross paths, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. It's not like purposeful where people just like purposely try to jet ram you because they suck. So I'm in the Red Baron, if you can see, Ted.
I see there's a purple, with the purple wings. Hold on.
No, that's
Is that
me
you?
you're aiming at. No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
me.
All right.
Other way. Other way.
Okay, there he is. There he is.
All right. So what a yo-yo is if you're going to pull a yo-yo, you're going to, instead of doing a vertical loop like this, you're going to turn out into it, and that's a yo-yo.
Okay. So it's pretty much like vertical loop into just rolling back to where you're upright.
Kind of like an Evilman, but like this is an Evilman churn. An Evilman's a very basic maneuver. Like let's say if like someone flies like, hold on, let me just demonstrate. If someone is coming directly towards you and they pass you, an Evilman churn would be up, and instead of completing the loop, you turn off into it. You turn away from it, and that's an Evilman. To turn you into a different direction. You can actually do a low Evilman too. This is also called a low yo-yo, something like that. Again, this is the Evilman.
Oh! Whoa! Oh god, dude.
Alright, that's an Evilman churn. An Evilman's a very basic churn, and that was actually developed in World War I by some guy, I forgot his first name, but his last name was Evilman, of course. And he was a German pilot. Max something. But he developed the Evilman churn. It's a very basic maneuver, and it's good if you just want to get right behind someone. Like if they're flying, let's say if they're flying directly behind you, or I'm sorry, towards you, and they're still flying, you know, towards that direction. It's a good way to get right behind them.
So here's the thing too, is like sometimes when I spot someone, you know, I haven't exactly passed them. Is it you want to do that before you actually pass them, right?
Well, and if you're talking about casual mode and when you're spotting, then you definitely want to spot them first before you start engaging.
Well,
but if you're in first person,
I'm talking about when you see them and they're, you know, coming right at you, and you want to get behind them. You start the Evilman turn, you know, I mean, actually before you pass them, or after you pass them? Like, what is...
You can either start... If you start it before you pass them, chances are that they're going to see that. And all they have to do is just match your vertical loop and just go right outside it and make a tighter, like a wider, tighter turn in order to get right behind you. So ideally, you want to do your Evilman right after you pass them. Like, right after. So, hold on, let me see if I can... Who's in the air? Someone's on the air? That's fine. You want to recycle, and I was telling them earlier, you want to recycle your energy into dives, and don't jam your brakes to make tighter turns. So, like, whoever's on my ass, your first instinct, or some casual, usually like beginner instinct, is to use your brakes to make a tighter turn to get right behind me. This is not going to help you out. This is actually going to fuck you up. What you want to do is you want to interrupt their flight pattern by pulling what's called a high yo-yo, which I demonstrated earlier. This is a high yo-yo. Alright?
Okay.
So a yo-yo is going to help you, in the most sense of the word, keep recycling your energy until you can get a shot to get behind them. And most of the time, you're going to be trying to find them. And that's exactly how dogfighting works. I mean, you're turning like that, whoever's I'm shooting. When you're doing high yo-yos like that, and you're doing barrel rolls.
Suzer, that's seedless. I'm in spectator mode.
Okay. It's a good way to get... It's a good way to get a person off your ass sometimes, but then you're all fucked up. You get a lot of damage, and you have to break off to fucking repair again. So if someone passes me like that, how I just did, I'm gonna do an Evilman, trying to get the height, and I'm gonna look around and see where they went. Always look around. It's a good thing. I know sometimes it's hard to do it while you're flying, because you know, especially if someone's right behind you and you're just like fuck. I've been in that situation plenty of times. Like, I by all means, like, just want to clarify, I'm not, like, the best fucking pilot in the world, but I've been shot down by some really good pilots, but I've learned from them. Like, I see what they do in order to get behind someone. So most of the time, dogfighting it's a turning war. You just want to get the advantage at some point, you know?
Can you show me the yo-yo again?
Sure. That's the yo-yo.
Oh man, I just got trench started. I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see it.
Alright. High yo-yo is good if you want to dive into, you know, to get someone off your ass and then back to get elevation. So that's what yo-yos are good for, and it's also good if you want to try to lose somebody. Yeah. And if they don't know how to counter your yo-yo, it's a good way, surefire way to get them off your ass. Of course, if they're good, experienced pilots, all they have to really do is kind of barrel roll out of it and just keep staying on your ass, you know? It's all, like, half of it is anticipation. You know what I mean? You're gonna try to anticipate where your opponent's gonna move, especially if he's making right or left turns. It's anticipation, and that's the name of the game. If you're on someone's ass, and this is a good way to counter the vertical loop, because a lot of players, their go-to move is the vertical loop. The vertical loop is this. You can see me doing the vertical loop. That's a vertical loop where you actually turn all the way, and it's kind of like a whole turn. You start from say mid elevation. You only want to do vertical loops like at high to mid elevation. You don't want to do it obviously in shorter elevations because you will die. When you do a vertical turn like this, you're gonna pump your throttle to the very top of the turn. You're gonna cut back on throttle at the last minute. That way, when you do start descending down, you're not gonna hit the ground as fast. You're not gonna lose elevation too much. So that's what a vertical loop is, and a lot of planes do vertical loops to get someone off their ass, thinking like, oh, okay, I can get them off my ass. But then they don't really know what to do, because I just lost the vertical loop and I'm traveling in only one direction. Now, an experienced pilot who's going to counter the vertical loop, let's get someone on my ass. Is that you, Tet? See, I'm flying over the desert. Try to get behind me. I'm going to fly really slow. You see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when you have someone on your ass like this, and let's say, I don't know if everybody can see, most pilots are going to do a vertical loop. Now, what Pet's going to do is he's going to follow me directly behind me to do a vertical loop himself. But instead of doing that, what I want you to do is when I do the vertical loop, you're going to turn to the right or left just slightly. And that's going to, and if you do that, about like 90% of the time, almost all is the path of the person that's doing that vertical loop. And you can quickly acquire them.
Yeah, let's keep trying that. Let's go back into...
Alright, so let's get a little closer to the city. So
when you say turn right or left, do you mean...
what you're doing is when you do your loop...
Roll and then...
Yeah, when you... Yeah, exactly. You're going to roll slightly more to the left. So I'm going to do my vertical loop. So I'm doing my vertical loop. Pet's going to follow me. And instead of following directly behind me and doing turning the loop, he's going to turn a little off to the right. And he's going to require me right back.
Yeah.
See?
Okay, yeah.
It's going to help you most of the time, almost all the time that someone pulls that shit. And I do it all the time. Vertical loops is something that's more of a defense move that people use. Don't try to use vertical loops in an offensive manner because it's not going to work for you. Vertical loop should be used only for defense, but if you are going to pull a vertical loop and someone's directly behind you and they don't know what I just taught you, one thing to do instead of staying in one path is to turn slightly to make almost like a really fucked up like loop. Instead of like a perfect circle, it's kind of like a loopy, you know, like a yo. Basically, you can turn into a yo-yo. It's hard to explain because I'm not like a fucking Air Force pilot, so I don't know the proper terminology, but it's basically what I've seen.
So it's kind of, I don't know if you can see me, but it's kind of like, okay, so I'm pretty much pitching up and then rolling and pitching at the same time. But do I keep rolling?
No. Instead of actually completing the roll, it's kind of like an Evilman. You're going to want to level out, but then turn again, do a barrel roll, and it helps you to confuse the person that's behind you because they can't really anticipate what your next move is. Especially because if you do a vertical loop, they're going to anticipate that you're going to stay in the same path, and if obviously you're inexperienced, you can just keep doing that as a defensive maneuver. So that's basically like a vertical loop Another vertical loop that you can pull is a low yo-yo, which is you turn your plane around like I just did, and then you counter. So instead of going in the air to pull your turn, you're using the ground. You're like heading towards the ground. So you turn, and this is a good defensive maneuver as well. Is they're directly behind you. See?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Especially if you have, you know, 2 people behind you, or if you're in a 2-on-1 dogfight, try to engage 2 of them at the same time. So don't just engage one, because eventually one of those pilots is going to get right behind you. So it's all about airspeed, it's all about control, and it's about anticipating where your opponent's going to move. If you feel like you're moving too fast, like, and you're about to overshoot, like whoever's, like for instance, I'm on this guy. If you feel like you're going to overshoot them,
that's seedless, I think. No.
If you feel like you're going to overshoot, just go into a turn, like this, like I just did. And you can stay right behind the person and anticipate where they're going to fly. You know, take your time, a little bit at a time. Take their health away. You don't have to fucking dump all your energy into one move to try to fuck them up in one go. Most of the time, pilots are going to try to break off. They're going to do your turns, they're going to do their fancy footwork to get you off their ass.
That's it.
See? And you can pressure them to either crash or follow you to the ground to crash. And sometimes that's how I kill people too. I don't really try to fuck them up all the way. I try to pressure them to go to the ground. And the good thing to do for that is keep turning into those Evilman turns, use a loop, use a high yo-yo, anticipate where they're going to go, use the shadows on the ground. If you get your opponent low to the ground, obviously you can trace their shadow. So you definitely, if you have somebody on your ass, you definitely want to take them up higher in the atmosphere, get altitude, use the sun to your advantage. Another cool trick I like to use too is I like to make them think that I'm going to, when I gain altitude, I'm going to stall out. Especially if I'm going to fly into the sun. I give them a chance to get right behind me, and then I pull my low yo-yo, and they're going to pass me. They're going to come around or swing right or left to try to get behind me again. And at that point, that's when I usually have like my boy Seedless or Wretched come behind them and fuck them up. Because all they're interested in doing is trying to fuck me up, and they're going to try to anticipate my move. But all I'm doing is the same fucking move, in a sense, and I'm baiting them. It's the bait and switch, is what I call it. And I'll just keep doing low yo-yos like that to have them follow me while I have my homie right behind them. And all I'm doing is just changing direction. So I've seen some of the GSP fighters, I mean at least clips that they allowed, they had on some of those maps and shit. But for the most part, I don't know how they fight. I've never seen their ace pilot go at it. I'm sure he knows a lot about this stuff, for most, if not all, the maneuvers that you need, at least the basics. So when fighting, if you're unsure of a pilot's skill, and sometimes you might think like a pilot's really good, but they're following a basic principle, like a 3/4 turn is your friend, and that's all you really need to win a fight. Now, a lot of people when they aim and shit, they try to hit the center mass of the plane. That's all well and good if they're low on health. Obviously, you really can't tell sometimes. But what you want to do to kind of fuck them up is try to hit their tail fin, or try to hit their wings on their plane. This will immediately create a disadvantage for them. If you can take out their wing, like I'm talking about, like dump all your fucking bullets into someone's wing, and that'll fuck them up. That'll disallow them to turn. Oh, yeah. It'll give them a major disadvantage, and then you can move in for the kill. A lot of the time, what? That's
number one, man. Like if you can,
it's number one. Always try to go for the wings.
Hey, Snooze, like I'm a pretty good pilot too, and I wanna go up against you because I'm pretty sure I can beat you.
Alright, man, we'll hop in the fucking server, grab a plane.
Well, alright.
It's just like clipping the bird's wing, man. Like, it's...
Exactly.
Dude, like, y'all haven't seen me pilot, dude. Like, I'm actually really fucking good, and y'all just don't know it.
I've seen you pilot. I mean, you're a decent man. I've seen you.
Yeah,
I mean, you use the attack plane. There's actually advantages and disadvantages to the attack plane.
You know what, dude? What I do is I
fighter.
do the most fucking scummiest thing ever. I go in the back seat and I just bait them to go behind me, fuck them up, and then go right back to do my shit, dude.
Yeah, that won't work if you're going against a dogfighter.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all haven't seen me dogfight yet. I usually just run the attack plane.
But it really isn't. It's actually just managing your speed, managing the pitch and roll of your plane, in order to use that stored energy. Like, for instance, if you're coming from high, you can use that stored energy to do a dive and get the airspeed on your opponent. Sometimes an airspeed is a lot more advantageous. Like, I just fucked up that guy's wing, whoever that was. So the wing, I fucked up your wing because I knew that's going to take away your maneuverability.
Yeah, that was
to try
it.
to
You
get
fucked up
behind
the
me.
wing, and I couldn't do shit. I was already on the way to the ground.
Exactly. You fuck up a person's wing, and that's basically it for you. If you do get your wing clipped, I mean, it's really down to luck, or if hopefully one of your homies is on an AA gun to help you out.
Yeah.
There's really not much you can do once you get your wing clipped. Sometimes what I do if I do get my wing clipped is I try to do a high Dylan, into a vertical yo-yo, go the opposite direction, and then try to repair really quick as fast as possible.
Mainly, you just want to dip, you know, you want to get the hell out of there, you know.
Yeah, and most of the time, that's to say, if they're directly on your ass, chances are they're gonna aim for your wing like I did to Seedless, and just try to either take him down or roll down, basically forcing him lower to the ground. If you try to gain the advantage on height and you try to do it and you pull on the throttle to go up, you're gonna fucking stall out, and you're just gonna fuck yourself.
Oh, there's no third person, right now?
No.
Okay.
No third person.
Hey, question. Hey, that Battlefield 1 got your play?
I'm sorry?
That's Battlefield 1 got your play?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Battlefield 1.
Who's talking right now?
Just answer the question so my friend can play.
What?
I think we're not playing, we're actually practicing some planes, man, doing plane stuff. You want to hop in another party to play, you mean, go for it, but I'm actually just helping everybody, doing a little bit of flight school, teaching them the basics.
World of Tanks. This is Mortez. Okay.
Yeah, we're not playing World of Tanks, bud. We're playing Battlefield 1, man.
Yeah, it does cost money to play Battlefield 1, though. You do have to buy the game. And you probably want to pay for premium.
Alright, dude. I'm gonna end the live stream and I'm gonna beat you because I'm lagging. So I'm gonna